Tonight, live from Washington, D.C., William Clinton defends for the first time his sometimes disputed title as 42nd President of the United States. Stepping into the ring with him will be a formidable foe. You, the American people. Live from our nation's capital, Comedy Central presents the State of the Union Undressed 94, with pillar-to-post coverage and analysis of President Clinton's history-making speech.
You know, they ought to calm down. Go out for a weekend, have a Diet Coke, enjoy yourself. The campaign's over. You won.
Hello, I'm Jim Lampley. We at Comedy Central are thrilled to bring you tonight's telecast of what is, in essence, the president's first serious defense of his title, as he comes face-to-face with both friend and foe to present his first State of the Union message. As in both boxing and political history, the new champion often tries to pad his first year with easy victories. Joe Louis, one of the greatest heavyweight champions in history, fought many opponents in what was dubbed by the sporting press of his time the Bum of the Month Club. But as President of the United States, Bill Clinton has campaign promises to fulfill, and in politics, there are no easy sidewalk palookas willing to take a fall to make the new champ look good. This evening, Bill Clinton comes face-to-face with his victories and his defeats, his failed cabinet nominations, criticism of his foreign policy, a successful bout with NAFTA, a rebounding economy, and a proposed national health plan of a scope that hasn't been seen since the title years of the legendary champion Franklin Delano Roosevelt. All of this while denying sexual allegations that match all the Kennedy brothers combined. Joining me tonight on our Comedy Central pre-speech coverage are two of the brightest and most qualified analysts of the political game in America today. Dennis Miller.
Hi, Jim. I love the brie.
And Bill Maher.
Thank you, Jim.
Dennis Miller will be handling the play-by-play, punch-by-punch, and whitewash-by-whitewash tonight. Dennis, welcome. Tell us in your inimitable pull-no-punches style, for the uninitiated, what exactly is the State of the Union message?
Well, first off, Jim, I'd like to apologize for the caller. But you know, our founding fathers, in their ultimate wisdom, provided in the Constitution that the President of the United States should give an annual report to the government and its people on the country's progress in the past year. Of course, they don't exactly say it should be televised by all the networks and repeated as frequently as the chocolate assembly line episode of Lucy on C-SPAN, but then again, maybe they didn't think the right to bear arms would one day play out to mean people could run down to the hardware store and pick up an AK-47. The Constitution was a plan for a new government, not the exact equation for pie. This address is used to rally the country around the president and his goals. Its purpose is to motivate people to light a fire under their representatives, which is about as easy as lighting wet newspapers in a wind tunnel with a sparkler. The State of the Union address was first given by George Washington as the nation's first president, and the last was given by George Bush in his third year of office. President Bush declined in his last year to give an address because he was incredibly pissed off after his bitter defeat to Bill Clinton. At this point, Bush wanted to be involved in government as much as a secretary for Bob Packwood. Tonight, for the first time in 12 years, a Democratic president addresses this country. Kind of shocking how quickly 4,380 days can fly by, huh?
Moving now from the historical to the present, what do you see, Dennis, in terms of specifics for Bill Clinton's first annual address to the nation tonight?
Jimmy, what do I know? But if I had to guess, this evening Bill Clinton, the 42nd President of the United States, comes before America in his own Willie Loman infomercial with a suitcase full of promises for programs that you can't do without. Tonight is the night he gets to hard sell them to you, the American public, all the while pounding his chest like Mighty Joe Young. President Clinton will use this opportunity to address all the good things that have happened in his first year of being president, from the Middle East peace agreement to the rise in the economy to consumer confidence and his political win on NAFTA. What you won't hear about tonight is the Whitewater land deal, whether those troopers in Arkansas are telling the truth, what he will give away to Congress to get his health care plan passed, and how much he pays for a haircut. He will avoid these issues like Nancy Kerrigan avoids fat, inbred Jabba the Hutt bodyguards. His administration will take credit for the good and blame the bad on the press, the Republican Party, and the people just trying to make a buck. But why should he be any different than past presidents who have given this address? This is, in fact, a pep talk that Newt Rockne could be proud of. His job tonight is to remind the American public that this is the greatest country on the planet. That for 3 more years you should back him and his policies, even though the president ends up on hard copy more than the Bobbits. All 3 of them.
Thank you, Dennis. Handling tonight's post-speech coverage, coming up live immediately after Dennis's broadcast during the Clinton State of the Union message, will be ace analyst Bill Maher with a special episode of Comedy Central's Politically Incorrect. Bill, who joins you in your roundtable tonight, and what can we expect?
Well, Jim, I think we got a really special show. We have our usual loony mix. We have Representative Jim Traficant of Ohio, and we put him with G. Gordon Liddy and Harvey Fierstein, and a very special surprise guest who we can't say right now because we frankly don't know who it is. But we will. And I think we have a great show. We're going to talk about, of course, the State of the Union. It's right after the speech, and we're going to discuss Clinton's performance, and we're going to discuss a lot of things about the presidency that I don't think you hear on a lot of other talk shows, like what if the president needs a personal day? What if he just wants to pull the covers over his head and watch soap operas? But what would happen then? And I think our panel is well equipped to answer that question. Of course, we have a lot of other surprises. I'm going to be doing Aunt Blabby, as I usually do. We have, naturally, lesbians eating maggots. What show doesn't now? And our salute to vaudeville. So all in all, we're excited, and it's our first hour-long show, and we think we can stretch it out and fill it.
Thank you, Bill Maher. Dennis, if this were a boxing match at, say, Caesar's Palace, we could expect a contingent of celebrities to be at ringside. Your Bruce Willises, your Donald Trumps, your Don Kings. Whom should we expect to be seeing tonight in the venue of the House Chambers?
Well, you know, Jimmy, considering Bill Clinton's Hollywood ties, I wouldn't be surprised if the gallery for this address looks like Swifty Lazar's wake. This guy's tapped into Hollywood like a SAG extra. But the stars of this speech will sit on the floor of the House Chamber. In here, that's the senators will be sitting in there. Let's call that the, for lack of a better term, Ring of Honor. And up here on the floor, they're going to bring in some portable seating just for tonight's event. Sort of a festival feel down there, very loose, very funky shamu this year at SeaWorld. This will be where your Supreme Court justices sit, and naturally, this will be where most of the hardcore amyl nitrate use takes place. The brethren, renowned pauper abusers, especially Clarence. Watch that area, could be hot. Brown acid circulating around stage, not particularly good. Oh. All right. Now, as we move back here, we've got the Senate House representative will be sitting in here. And then, of course, way back here in the rear of the room, the San Francisco 49ers. Well, now I'm going to show you where some of the more well-known people will be sitting tonight. Go back to the telestrator. I've cleared the screen because it was starting to look like a bad Kostabi litho. Over in here, we'll have Bob Packwood, Dear Diary. I'm such an asshole for keeping a diary. And then down here, like I said, Justice Clarence Thomas will be somewhere right in there, and he'll be the one with the yellow and red plastic tower video bag. Up here, of course, Harry Carey's booth. And Teddy Kennedy, somewhere in here, look for the goatskin flask. That's the big tip-off. Wow, Bobby Packwood, Ted Kennedy, Clarence Thomas, and Bill Clinton, all under one roof at one time. Haven't seen a group together like that since I rented Caligula. Director's cut. If there's any justice, Packwood will be sitting next to Lorena Bobbitt once again for the director's cut. The executive gallery is back here. This is where Hillary and Chelsea will sit. Hillary has made quite an impact in Washington. Indeed, most of Congress has taken to calling her the good Yoko. So here's the drill. The doorkeeper, somewhere back in here, will announce the president. He is then taken in here to a magical salon in a multicolored horse-drawn carriage to have his straw restuffed by midgets. Then the president comes out this door and is guarded on both sides by the Sergeant-Arms of the Senate and the House and Beretta. Don't go to bed with no price on your head. Keep your eye on the sparrow. Don't do it. Clinton will receive a standing ovation. As a matter of fact, during the evening, he'll receive more standing ovations than Liza doing a show in West Hollywood. And will eventually make his way to the podium, finally sit in front of Vice President Gore and Representative Tom Foley. Foley is one of the few people who can give Al Gore the illusion of movement.
An infamous group, to say the least, Dennis. Bill, what are the odds going into tonight's speech? Does the president find himself in a win-win or a no-win situation, or perhaps what we've seen many past presidents experience before, a place somewhere in between?
Jim, your sports talk confuses me, but if you mean how's the president doing, I happen to be a big fan of his. People are always asking, oh, how's he doing, what's he doing? I think he's doing great considering the job that he has to do. I mean, when you think about what we all do in our day and what he does in his day, it's a little hard to judge him. I prepared a list just to show you what I mean about what he does and just some of the things I've done. He's been in office a year, and, well, I've been around the last year, and just for example, he appointed a whole new cabinet, and I kept a dentist appointment. He got health care going, and I pretty much am getting a regular walk in every day. The deficit, he reduced the deficit, got that budget through, and I got an extra $2 grand on my visa limit. Russia, he made a historic trip to Russia, and I finally took that trip to the Amish country that I've always been wanting to take. The Middle East, he actually got the Middle East guys together and had them shake hands, and I resolved in my life to really give peace a chance more than a slogan on a personal level. Gays in the military, another thing everybody had been afraid to broach for years, and he finally got something going with gays in the military, and I resolved to take all the gay jokes out of my act. And he passed NAFTA. He got NAFTA passed, and I finally got my driver's license back. Some of the other things I've done, I extricated myself from one of those CD of the month clubs. That took a lot. I replaced all the socks I had that had holes in the heels. I turned my bed around so my feet aren't near the window. I defrosted my freezer, spent a little less time on the phone. I cleaned out my garage, more or less, and I finally just yesterday got my Christmas lights down. So you see, I think there is a point of comparison, but it's not always fair with the president. I say, Mr. President, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Dennis Miller. So the stage has been set. Champ or chump? Will President Clinton walk in the steps of Muhammad Ali, Rocky Marciano, and the great Leon Spinks as people's champion when he leaves the houses of Congress tonight? Or will he, as so many presidents have in the past, yet have something to prove to the American people? Coming up next, the State of the Union Undressed 94, with live play-by-play coverage provided by Dennis Miller, followed immediately by Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect, bringing you live post-speech analysis. For Comedy Central, I'm Jim Lampley.
Tonight's live presentation of the State of the Union Undressed is brought to you by Mentos, the Fresh Maker.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you, staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better, Mentos freshness. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the Fresh Maker.
Our great nation is known as the land of opportunity. Yet can we claim that title until every American has the chance for meaningful employment? Now, I have a job. I'm the presidential brother. But not everyone can do that. So I've come up with a plan. 1, employers, create some jobs. 2, workforce, find those jobs. 3, everyone watch Comedy Central. Once you have a job, you'll need something to take your mind off work. Thank you very much.
Comedy Central, important enough to get the president's brother.
Do not attempt to adjust your TV sets.
It's Mystery Science Theater 3000, the only show on television made for the cheese lover in you.
Yeah, I thought I'd take Thelma Lou over to Mount Pilot for a picture show.
Do you like long walks on the beach? Chinese food, mushing up your bananas?
Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's like watching cheesy movies with 3 of your closest friends.
Chuck it!
Finish it! All the way!
Watch it weeknights at midnight, only at Comedy Central.
You're a sweet little biscuit, Chelsea Clinton. I think that you have boss hair, and I would love to braid it sometime. Maybe sharing a conditioner tip or 2. I understand how difficult loving you could be. Secret Service agents and your dad probably wouldn't want me hanging around when, like, Yeltsin's coming over.
Comedy Central, where hot new comedians do time.
Tell your mom I'll smoke outside and try and keep Willie Nelson off the roof.
Thank you, Musketeers. Welcome. I'm Dennis Miller. Welcome to Comedy Central's coverage of the State of the Union Undressed '94, Lillehammer. Tonight, the two-man luge team featuring the Menendez brothers. Well, the first year is up, the apprenticeship of Duddy Clinton is over, and he didn't fare all that badly. I don't think that the American public loves Bill Clinton, but obviously they don't dislike him all that much either, even though he has in fact backed off so many of his campaign promises. You half expect to hear that high-pitched beep a truck makes when you drop it into reverse. You know, Bill Clinton is not a bad man. He's just the kind of guy who always volunteers to help you move, and then when 4 of you pick up the sofa, he's the one who fakes lifting. Bill Clinton's the type of guy who'll give you one tic-tac. I think you know what I'm saying. Well, maybe tonight Bill Clinton will cut through the haze, do away with all the spin, all the posturing, all the positioning. Maybe this is the night that he looks America in the eye and says, yeah, I inhaled it, and then I drank the bong water. What are you going to do about it? All right, now we had some, we're going to do some telestrator humor at this point, but I've been told by the staff here that the entire electronic component of the show was just blown out in a nuclear bomb test somewhere in the Mojave Desert. So I'm winging it. We have no electronics up here. I just have to essentially do Joycean rant, stream of consciousness for the next hour. So bear with me. It's a Rorschach test. Tonight, throughout the president's speech, since most of it will be indecipherable gibberish, I will be offering you some various observations via voiceover of the president's first year in office. I'm watching the monitor now. I think this was supposed to start at 9. The president is late. Evidently the drive-through window was closed and had to go inside for his Happy Meal. You know, if the speech becomes incessantly boring, we will cut power and go to black in an effort to save energy. And if it's stupefyingly boring, I may even get back there and clean some of that filthy grout with some scrubbing bubbles. We have questions from our crowd. We have a nice group of young people here. And while the president tarries, we should take some questions. Isn't it ironic that Bill Clinton is never on time, and yet he's the one person in the world who is most afraid of hearing the words, "I'm late"? I think there was a joke there I wasn't even aware of. Okay. Yes, young man. What is your name?
Yeah, I have a question. If you buy a Sony TV, do you that orange sticker in the corner that says it's a Sony? Do you peel that off or do you leave it on?
Leave it on.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much for having a stranglehold on the American political process. We have any other questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, would you give your underwear up to the Salvation Army and claim it as one of your tax deductions?
Well, of course, this is a reference to the fact that Bill Clinton evidently donated his underwear and used it as a tax write-off. And I don't know how much he could have got for that. I'm surprised there's any elasticity left in that band. But, you know, a little thirsty up here. Can I get a glass of water, please? Anybody have any water? Thank you. Thank you. It's a whitewater joke, but I don't want to club you over the head with it like Leno. Okay. You know, the last time Clinton gave a big speech, they loaded the wrong speech into the teleprompter. That was the night he did the Lou Gehrig, I consider myself the luckiest man on earth speech. And of course, Clinton is luckier than Lou Gehrig. I'm going to go over here for a while now. We have any more questions from the kids in the crowd? Anybody have a status report on Bill? Is he shown? I love the concept of being stood up by the president. We're just all here tonight, and he's at home watching Nickelodeon or something. All right, making him out. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering, have you been jogging around the White House track with the president?
You know, I have not been jogging with the president. I haven't been invited, but every time I see footage of him jogging, I think it's like an ad for the sequel to Free Willy. It just doesn't seem to be working for him. You know, we didn't get the speech. Oh, we did get the speech ahead of time, right here. Did this just come in? It came in late because evidently up until 10 minutes ago they weren't able to locate a speechwriter who hadn't hired an illegal nanny somewhere in their life. We have the speech right here. And as you can see, we also have a flip stick figure thing of Clinton doing the speech. Well, let's analyze the set. We have maps of various times: Little Rock, New York, London. Oh, let's see. Bobbitville. Like Hooterville without a penis. That's Uncle Joe. He's moving really slow at the junction. Okay, where are we at here? You know, I find it ironic that I'm covering the speech tonight since I, too, started out as a illegal Filipino housekeeper named Chinga. And it's many years ago. And where's the damn president? Well, we got some free time here. I'll read from Ulysses. No rumpus of any sort was kicked up, a move that had to be made because that merry old soul, the grass widower in question, who appeared to be glued to the spot, didn't appear in any particular hurry to wend his way home to his dearly beloved Queenstown, and it was highly likely some Sponger's Body House of retired beauties where age was no bar off Sheriff Street. Lower would be the best clue to that equivocal character's whereabouts, for a lower would be the best clue a few days to come, alternately racking their feelings, the mermaids, with... What was Joyce on, huh? All right, what's Clinton going to talk about tonight? What do you think, guys, huh? World's pretty screwed up, huh? I look around me, I look at the world, I feel like Phil Collins watching Anne Rankin sing Against All Odds at the Oscars that year. I just think, what the hell's going on here? I guess some of the things he might talk about are NAFTA and budget cuts and violence. Of course, we had the passage of the Brady bill this year. Kind of a tentative step, isn't it? 5-day waiting list. You have to get on a waiting list to buy Aladdin at Blockbuster in this country, you know. Is that big a step? You know, the new anti-crime bill wants life sentences for 3-time felony convictions. I think that's a pretty good idea. 3 times and you're in. And I think that would be a good first step that we could pass. And what else do you think the... Oh, he's coming? Oh, okay. Somebody's entering. I can't see who. I think it's the mamas and the papas. Now, there's Clarence. Keep your hands behind your back, Clarence. Yeah, huh? Oh, man. This is a good shot. I had seats for this, too.
Mr. Speaker,
Oh.
the President's Cabinet.
Oh, here comes the cabinet. Les Aspin, Lithgow and Garp. Wow! Wow! It's the lollipop leg. What the hell happened there? Whoa! Whoa, huh? He looks like bad claymation. It's like a California raisin in a power suit. His eyebrows are up there higher than Janine Turner in those Chevy commercials. Okay, who's this in the crowd? Here we got Mrs. Blue in the kitchen with the news. Tito Jackson, there to defend his brother. By the way, Michael Jackson and George Hamilton officially crossed lines on the pigmentation flowchart today. And what if they gave a State of the Union address and it wasn't sold out? That'd be so funny if Clinton showed up. There was like nobody there. Clinton's about to come in now, checking his fly. Or I think he has a guy who does that for him. One person you will not see here tonight is Bobby Ray Inman, President Clinton's nominee to replace Secretary of Defense Les Aspin. Bobby Ray Inman paid $6,000 in delinquent Social Security taxes he owed on the account of an illegally hired housekeeper somewhere in his past. See, this is how Clinton is cutting the deficit, one cabinet nominee at a time. And this woman has a chest cold, and she's asking this Al Gore lookalike for some Vicks. There we go. Wow, Clinton looks better. Oh, that's not him. Either him or Adam from TV's Beloved Bonanza. All right, here becomes the handshaking. Oh, the crowd is just crazy. They're screaming for him to do Freebird. There he comes.
Still here.
Is that Jack Ruby? What's that? Oh, this is so, wow. She looks pretty tonight, huh? Very nice. Look, nice cheekbones on Hillary. See that? Very Babe Paley tonight. There's an awful color green. What is that? Dan Marino's uniform? Okay. Hi. Hi. I can have you destroyed. Hi. Hi. Kiss my ass. I can have you destroyed. Hi. I don't want to hurt you, but I will. Get some minoxidil in the back of that head. Hi. Hi. Salute. Thumbs up more than Lloyd Bridges in the entire 6-year run of Sea Hunt. Hi. Stuart Whitman there tonight. Hi. How are you? I'm going to give a speech tonight. Come on, Bill, get up there. Wish somebody had a joy buzzer. Like Muhammad Ali going into the ring. Drew Bundini Brown in the background. Men love you, women love you. You're the best. You're the greatest. I almost chose that rug that they have in the Senate for my house, but then I got a light. A lot of bald heads in this shot, kids. What does this tell us about our country? Run entirely by old, bald, white guys. And we got to do something about that. There he is. They love him. Chaos. They're lighting lighters. There's something off the Derek and the Dominoes album. All right. Bill Clinton unplugged. Where is this yet? You see Al Gore and Lee Marvin's character from The Dirty Dozen. I think Al just broke his thumb. Hi, everybody. Raise your hands if you're sure now. Raise your hands. There we go. Oh, I'm surprised they have anybody sitting up there to the left. They're a little touchy about that box with presidents in Washington. Wow. There's Jim Brady. This speech, of course, is a Linda Bloodworth, Harry Thomason production.
Thank you very much.
He's working that sincere thing already. Sell it, Bill. Pursed lips, lucky to be here. All right. Humble place.
Thank you.
The crowd is just completely back. I haven't seen anything like this since Sinatra hit the Madison Square Garden stage at the main event. All right. Bill's head is so coffed, he looks like he has Denorex head. Doesn't he?
Thank you very much.
Members of Congress,
He's a little raspy already. He hasn't even started.
I have the high privilege
Sit down.
and the distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Oh, is that who that is? See, they didn't even know that was him. They were just, they were applauding to be nice. Who's the guy in the gray hair? But now they've hipped them to the fact that's the leader of the free world. Okay. Beautiful. I don't even think our system works anymore. I'm advocating a new system, the volleyball-tocracy. You elect 6 men, one of them serves till he screws up, they rotate, somebody else takes it for a while.
Thank you.
Look at Al Gore. Can he get a little stiffer? Makes Ed Sullivan look double-jointed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, members of the 103rd Congress, my fellow Americans. I'm not at all sure what speech is in the teleprompter tonight.
Ah, we beat him to that one.
But I hope we can talk about the State of the Union.
Sorry, Bill, old news.
I ask you to begin by recalling the memory of the giant who presided over this chamber with such force and grace. Tip O'Neill liked to call himself a man of the house, and he surely was that. But even more, he was a man of the people, a bricklayer's son who helped to build the great American middle class.
Well, this is a nice salute to the
Tip O'Neill never
recently
forgot who
deceased
he
Tip
was,
O'Neill. You get the feeling
where he
George
came
Bush
from,
is watching this
or
tonight
who
in
sent him
Texas,
here.
in a condo in his undies
Tonight
with a
he's
bong watching C-SPAN.
smiling at first time.
Barbara! Bring me a Corona!
We to always remember who we are
Do we have any bridge mix, baby?
and who sent us here.
Okay. So some nice words about Tip O'Neill. Boom, 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 boom. Come on, Stan, give it up to you, Tip. I got to do some paperwork here.
If we do that, we will return over and over again to the principle that if we simply give ordinary people equal opportunity, quality education, and a fair shot at the American dream, they will do extraordinary things. We gather tonight in a world of changes so profound and rapid that all nations are tested.
I think that's a clip-on.
Our American heritage has always been to master such change, to use it to expand opportunity at home and our leadership abroad. But for too long,
sad to not see
and in
Dan
too many
Quayle's
ways,
empty pumpkin head back there this year, huh? They
and
should
our
have
country
retired that chair.
for 30
Quayle's head
years,
was emptier than an
family life in
Oktoberfest in
America
downtown
has been
Miami,
breaking down.
folks.
For 20 years, the wages of working people have been stagnant or
Talking
declining.
about wages.
For the 12 years of trickle-down economics, we built a false prosperity on a hollow base as our national debt quadrupled. From 1989 to 1992, we experienced the slowest growth in a half century.
Tell me something I don't
For
know.
too many
Okay,
families, even when both
you know the Dan
parents
Quayle
were
Museum
working,
opened this year.
the American
Quayle
dream
deserves a
was slipping
museum
away.
like Ernest deserves an Oscar tribute.
1992, the American
I miss
people
Quayle like I
demanded
miss
that we
8-track
change.
tapes. Okay.
A year ago, I asked all of you to join me in accepting responsibility for the future of our country. Well, we did. We replaced drift and deadlock with renewal and reform. And I want to thank every one of you here who heard the American people, who broke gridlock, who gave them the most successful teamwork between a president and a Congress in 30 years.
We still have gridlock. Come on, looking up at Capitol Hill is like looking up at that Escher print of the wild geese flying together. Makes no sense, and occasionally it does it on your head. These two guys like that. I think that was Bob and Ray.
This Congress produced a budget that cut the deficit by $500 billion.
He's kissing up to the Congress there. You know he hates them, but he's got to do a little suck-up work. Okay. This is the tactical part. Spassky, pawn takes rook.
It produced NAFTA. It produced the Brady Bill, now the Brady Law. And thank you, Jim Brady, for being here. And God bless you, sir.
Yeah. Good for him. That was... He should do more than that. That's not enough. Yeah, you know, is there a more stirring indictment of what's wrong with this country than that picture? It's a good man, did well by his country, screwed. What do? We make him wait 5 days to get guns. It's idiocy. We should get rid of guns, get rid of bullets, or get rid of index fingers. I don't care what you do, but get rid of something.
This Congress produced tax cuts to reduce the taxes of 9 out of 10 small businesses who use the money to invest more and create more jobs. It produced more research and treatment for AIDS, more childhood immunizations, more support for women's health research.
Huh? I'm telling you. Oh, that was the first blink since late March of last year. This guy's like vice presidents of the Caribbean.
A dramatic increase in high-tech investments to move us from a defense to a domestic high-tech economy. This Congress produced a new law, the motor voter bill, to help millions of people register to vote.
That's what I need, another reason to get down to the DMV in my life.
All passed, all signed into law with not one single veto.
Look at Al Gore. Now you tell me that Al Gore isn't like an audio-visual kid who got lucky. Can't you see him pushing an overhead projector around through the halls in high school?
These accomplishments were all commitments I made when I sought this office. And in fairness, they all had to be passed by you and this Congress. But I am persuaded that the real credit belongs to the people who sent us here, who pay our salaries, who hold our feet to the fire.
The lobbyists.
But what we do here is really
to the fire. What is he been watching 9.5 weeks? What is that reference?
Let me just give you one example. I will never forget what the family and medical leave law meant to just one father I met early one Sunday morning in the White House. It was unusual to see a family there touring early Sunday morning, but he had his wife and his 3 children there, one of them in a wheelchair. I came up, and after we had our picture taken and had a little visit, I was walking off, and that man grabbed me by the arm, and he said, "Mr. President,
you owe me money.
Let me tell you something. She's probably not going to make it."
And you know, I did.
But because of the family leave law, I was able to take time off to spend with her the most important time I ever spent in my life, without losing my job and hurting the rest of my family.
Then how to get ahead in advertising.
It means more to me than I will ever be able to say.
Oh, it's our logo.
Don't you people up here ever think what you do doesn't make a difference. It does.
Wow. Getting sort of a Yvette Minute hitting with a whip thing off hill tonight. I don't know. I am digging it. She looks good. Sorry, honey.
Though we are making a difference, our work has just begun. Many Americans still haven't felt the impact of what we've done. The recovery still hasn't touched every community or created enough jobs. Incomes are still stagnant. There's still too much violence and not enough hope in too many places. Abroad, the young democracies we are strongly supporting still face very difficult times and look to us for leadership. And so tonight, let us resolve to continue the journey of renewal, to create more and better jobs, to guarantee health security for all, to reward welfare work over welfare, to promote democracy abroad, and to begin to reclaim our streets from violent crime and drugs and gangs, to renew our own American.
All right. He's thrown down the Buford-Pusser gauntlet. We're not taking it.
Last year, we began to put our house in order by tackling the budget deficit that was driving us toward bankruptcy.
Stay on him.
We cut $255
Is that Mike
billion
Myers
in spending, including over 300.
What is he doing there in drag? Mike!
We closed domestic spending and used honest budget
It's Wayne
numbers.
Senate. It's Wayne
Led by the Vice President, we launched a campaign to reinvent government. We cut staff, cut perks,
Al, come
even
back.
trimmed the fleet of federal limousines.
Come back
After
to us,
years
Al.
of leaders whose rhetoric
the
attacked
second tab.
bureaucracy, but whose actions expanded it, we will actually reduce it by 252,000 people over the next 5 years. By the time we have finished, the federal bureaucracy will be at its
252,000
lowest
people? What is that
point
about?
in 30
I missed the
years.
setup there. How Orwellian. Oh, man. Beautiful.
Because the deficit was so large, and because they benefited from tax cuts in the 1980s, we did ask the wealthiest Americans to pay more to reduce the deficit. So on April the 15th, the American people will discover the truth about what we did last year on taxes. Only the top one, yeah, listen.
This
The top
could break out into a
1.2% of
hootenanny
Americans,
here.
as I said all along, will
There's
pay
Newt
higher income
Gingrich,
tax
and while you
rates.
can't tell from
Let
that
me
shot,
repeat.
he is in fact a centaur.
Only
Under that
the
table,
wealthiest
two little hooks.
1.2% of Americans will face higher income tax rates, and no one else will, and that is the truth.
All right. Kill the rich! Man, there are the 4 phases of hair right there, huh? You see that? We had nice dark, little salt and pepper. That was a Grecian formula ad, man. The last guy was the king of Siam. What's you know, I just saw a new poll on Clinton today by the accounting firm of
course.
White Waterhouse. And
As there always
I
are,
think I'm going to let him off the hook on that? Of course not.
naysayers who said this plan wouldn't work.
How karmic.
But
He's
they
talking
were
about
wrong.
naysayers, just as I was
When I
taking a
became
shot.
president, the experts predicted that next year's deficit would be $300 billion.
No, it's
But
not.
because we acted, those same people now say the deficit's going to be under $180 billion.
Oh, it's only we're only 180 in the hole. Yeah, party. You know, the deficit goes up all the time. You know what that means? Somewhere out there, there's somebody who still insists on lending us money. I don't know about you. Somebody runs up a tab like that on me. I get a call from them, hit me up tomorrow. I think I'm going to say, hey, my man, you got that billion you owe me. I got to see something, baby. A deuce, anything, you know.
Our economic program has helped to produce the lowest core inflation rate and the lowest interest rates in 20 years. And because those interest rates are down, business investment in equipment is growing at 7 times the rate of the previous 4 years. Auto sales are way up. Home sales at a record
People are living
high.
in their cars.
Millions of Americans have refinanced their homes, and our economy has produced 1.6 million private sector jobs in 1993, more than were
Private
created
sector
in
jobs
the
is
previous
code for
4
nanny
years
jobs.
combined.
Well, this all sounds great. Does it appear that good out to you guys? Life gone that good? It's pretty good now? All right, I'll go along with it. Guess it's all perspective. Is the glass half empty or half full of it? You think Glenn Ford? What's he doing there? I didn't think Glenn Ford was still with us. Am I wrong?
The people who supported this economic plan should be proud of its early results. Proud.
This is a weird
But
gig.
everyone in this chamber should know and acknowledge that there is more to do. Next month, I will send you one of the toughest budgets ever presented to Congress.
Don't send
It will cut
COD,
spending in
pal.
more than 300 programs,
Because
eliminate
I'm not
100
signing
domestic
for it.
programs, and reforms the ways in
Keep
which
sending me
governments buy
stuff. Little
goods and
pictures of
services.
Napoleon where he pulled
This
back
year,
and
we
he's...
must again make the hard choices to live within the hard spending ceilings we have set. We must do it. We have proved we can bring the deficit down without choking off recovery, without punishing seniors of the middle class, and without putting our national security
You know,
at
Clinton
risk.
asked for
If you
another
will stick with this
$45 billion
plan,
to
we will
clean up the
post 3
SNL mess.
consecutive
You know, for
years
$45 billion,
declining
you should be able to get the
deficits
country
for the first
detailed.
time since Harry Truman lived in the White House. And once again, the buck stops here.
All right. I think in Europe that, oh, look at that, there are some serious eyebrows there. Now that is like a big caterpillar crawling across this head. What? This is Quail when he's 90. Big Dick Gephardt, folks. killed a bear when he was 3. Some standing, some not. Because some of the electric shock plates didn't work.
Our economic plan also bolsters our strength and our credibility around the world.
This is the part where Andrew Lloyd Webber has the chandelier fall down.
And put the steel back into our competitive edge.
Don't be scared, it's not
the
real.
The world echoed with the sound of falling trade barriers. In 1 year, with NAFTA, with GATT, with our efforts in Asia and the national export strategy,
Am I an idiot?
we did
Why don't
more
I know
to
what this
open world
is?
markets to American products
the most
than at any
clueless
time in the
political observer
last
I've ever heard.
generations.
They're throwing...
That means more jobs and rising living standards for the American
I'm told
people.
that GATT means we don't get any
Low
Genevieve
deficits,
Bujold
low
movies.
inflation, low interest rates, low trade barriers,
Killer
and
in
high
coma,
investments.
going through the meat freezer.
These are the
Great
building
scene.
blocks of our recovery. But if we want to take full advantage of the opportunities before us in the global economy,
Foley,
you all know we must
look
do
at Foley.
more.
He's naked from the waist
As we
down. I'm
reduce
telling you.
defense spending, I ask Congress to invest more
Foley is
technologists
sitting back
tomorrow.
there, just dreaming of June Allison. I'm telling you.
And create jobs for our
Yeah,
people here.
he's got Heaven Loves Mr. Allison on a perpetual reel, and he's just watching on a little Watchman. There's Dick Tracy.
As we protect our environment, we must invest in the environmental technologies of the future, which will create jobs. This year, we will fight for a revitalized Clean Water Act and a Safe Drinking Water Act and a reformed Superfund program.
And a Whitewater Act.
Vice President is right. We must also work with the private sector to connect every classroom, every clinic, every library, every hospital in America into a national information superhighway by
You know,
the
Vice
year
President
2000.
Gore proposes to save money by locking the 900 numbers coming out of the White House. And I think there's a big savings to be had there.
Think of it. Instant access.
Gore's got a little
to
collar going, doesn't
information
he?
will increase
Oh, no, that's the
productivity,
flag.
will help
Sorry.
educate our children, it will
Symbol
provide
of
better
our
medical
freedom.
care, it will create jobs. And I call on the Congress to
listen to
pass
him before I feel like
legislation
a cretin
to
just
establish that information
pissing on
superhighway
everything.
this year.
See what he has to say. Okay, that's enough. There's Dana as Bush.
As we expand opportunity and create jobs, no one can be left out.
You know, Gore
We
also
must continue
proposed
to
that the air
enforce fair
traffic
lending
control
and fair
system be
housing and all
government
civil rights
run.
laws, because America
I don't want to
will
be coming
never
into
be
Washington
complete
National knowing
in
the
its
same
renewal
system is being used
until
in our
everyone
post
shares
office.
in its
Hello? Whoa! Pretty sure there are no nanny's troubles in that past.
We all know, too, we can do all these things. Put our economic house in
Surprised
order,
Janet did the Todd
expand
Oldham
world
show in
trade,
New York
target
this
the
year.
jobs
Blew
of
my
the
mind.
future, guarantee equal opportunity. But if we're honest, we'll all admit that this strategy still cannot work unless we also give our people the education, training, and skills they need to seize the opportunities of tomorrow.
Seize the day. Dead Politicians Society. Those are the bad seats there, man. Those people.
We must set tough, world-class academic and occupational standards for all our children and give our teachers and
I
students
saw this
the
much
tools
blue
they
and
need
gray
to
was Appomattox.
Our Goals 2000 proposal will empower individual school districts to experiment with ideas like chartering their schools to be run by private corporations or having more public school choice, to do whatever they wish to do as long as we measure every school by one high standard. Are our children learning what they need to know to compete and win in the global economy?
That's Dana's Bush. I'm telling you, it's Carvey. I thought I saw him in the crowd. And who's behind him? Steinbrenner. What the hell's going on here? This place is like Sardi's.
Grassroots reforms, and I hope Congress will pass it without delay.
You know, if you ever see me in a
Our
line
School to Work
dance,
initiative will
call
for the first
Kevorkian,
time
okay?
bring school to the world of work,
Tell him to get
providing
over there
at
with the
least
snow
1
cone
year
machine of death.
apprenticeship beyond high school. After all, most of the people we're counting on to build our economic future won't graduate from college.
No.
It's time to stop ignoring them and start empowering them.
I was reading a study today that said children from single-parent homes have much better verbal skills than children from two-parent homes, but children from two-parent homes are far superior at bitterly sarcastic repartee.
The old unemployment
So,
system just sort of kept you
kind of
going while you waited for your old job to come back.
interesting thing I should have kept to
We've got to have
myself.
a new system to move people into new and better jobs because most of those old jobs just don't come back. And we know that the only way to have real job security in the future To get a good
Has
job
anybody
with a
seen a new
growing
cabinet
income
guy?
is to have
William,
real skills
the refrigerator
and the ability
Perry,
to
is
learn
he there?
new ones. So we've got to streamline today's patchwork of training programs and make them a source of new skill for our people who lose their
Score
jobs.
like that. I saw a harumph back there.
Not unemployment.
You
must
see
become
that?
The centerpiece of our economic renewal.
He's
I urge
behind
you to
that
pass
one.
it
Watch, he's
in
bolting
this
out of that seat. Yeah, get up. Nah. Hey. Thank you.
And just as we must transform our unemployment system, so must we also revolutionize our welfare system. It doesn't work. It defies our values as a nation.
See, this is one
If we
thing you got to
value
like
work,
about
we
the guy.
can't
At least he
justify a
doesn't
system that makes
completely
welfare
BS
more
shit.
attractive than work.
Occasionally he'll
People are
say
worried
something
about
doesn't
losing
work.
their
I
health
admire that. I don't like a lot about him, but at least he comes clean and says, hey, some of this sucks. Hi.
If we value responsibility, we can't ignore the $34 billion in child support absent parents ought to be paying millions of parents.
Tommy Foley hitting the NyQuil already. Unbelievable. Foley went to the sedative this early in the speech. Gore starting to twitch. We're seeing the classic signs of breakdown here.
Can you believe that a child
How long are we into this? What's
gets
happening?
more money from the government for leaving home than for staying home with a parent or a grandparent? That's
I ran
not
away
just
from
bad
home
policy,
once,
it's wrong.
but I lived
and we ought
alone.
to change it.
So really, nobody even knew. It was weird. Look at Foley. He's spacing on that NyQuil, man. You see him sucking his lips? I know, yeah. You know, you get a little dry from that stuff.
With other governors and with members of Congress of both parties and with the previous administration of another party. I worked on it with people who were on welfare, lots of them. And I want to say something to everybody here who cares about this issue. The people who most want to change this system are the people who are dependent on it.
Who is that?
They want
George
to get
Clinton?
off welfare. They want to go back to work. They want to do right by their kids.
Moynihan covering his zip.
I once had a hearing when I was a governor.
I wonder if Rush Limbaugh's
And I
watching
brought in
tonight.
people on welfare from all over America.
Nancy, you
who
gonna be
had
okay
found
over
a way
there?
to work.
Nancy
The woman
Geller,
from
our
my
official
state
ladder
who
knocker downer.
I was asked this question. She said,
Stay away from
"What's
that
the best
now.
thing about being off welfare
This is so
in a
weird.
job?" And without blinking an eye,
Wait,
she
what's
looked
he
at 40
saying? Can't
governors
hear.
and she said, "When my boy goes to school and they say, 'What does your mother do for a living?' he can give an answer." These people want a better system, and we ought to give it to them.
All right. You know who Rush Limbaugh is? I think he's Rudolph's friend, Yukon Cornelius.
Last year we began this. We gave the states more power to innovate because we know that a lot of great ideas come from outside Washington, and many states are already using it.
Supreme Court's turned the
Then this
issue of
Congress
abortion
took
over
a
to the
dramatic
states.
step.
You know, folks, the
Instead
states
of
can't
taxing
pave
people
roads,
with modest
okay?
incomes and poverty,
I think we should all remember that state legislators are merely politicians whose darkest secret prohibits them from running for a higher office.
it will lift 15
I'm telling you,
million
Foley is
working
on a major
families out
buzz.
of poverty, rewarding work over welfare.
Watch. Clinton moves his hands, Foley's getting trails. I'm telling you, look at him. He's going to ask him to stop it. Foley's faced. He's completely faced. He thinks that's Clinton. That's how darn Foley is right now.
But there is more to be done. This spring, I will send you a comprehensive welfare reform bill that builds on the Family Support Act of 1988 and restores the basic values of work and responsibility. We'll say to teenagers, if you have a child out of wedlock, we'll no longer give you a
news
check
leading up to this
set
speech
up a
this week. I was
separate
on a
household. We want
whitewater
families to stay
rafting trip,
together.
and
Absent parents who aren't paying their child support, if you're not providing for your children, we'll garnish your wages, suspend your license, track you across state lines, and if necessary, make some of you work off what you owe. People who...
yeah. Danny Bonaducci is evidently...
People who bring children into
Decided
this
to
world
come tonight.
cannot and must not walk away from them. But to all those who depend on welfare, we should offer ultimately a simple compact.
Stretch here.
We'll
man.
provide the support, the job training, the
I need a
child care
break.
you need for up to 2 years.
We're Tom
But after
Servo
that,
and
anyone
Crow
who
when
can
you need them.
invest in the private sector wherever possible, in community service if necessary. That's the only way we'll ever
Now, see,
make
community
welfare
service
what
makes a
ought
lot
to
of
be
sense.
second
Everybody
chance,
is a little
not
freaked
a
about it
way
because it
of
reeks
life.
of 1984-ish behavior, but You know, we should have something where you can work for the good of the country, you know? Build the bullet train, whatever. Where are we going to eat after? I don't know. I'll eat anything. I'm starving. Boom, 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 boom. Uh-oh. Yeah. They love this one. Pretty nice rock she got there, huh? Who's her husband, the president?
I know it will be difficult to tackle welfare reform in 1994 at the same time we tackle health care.
Like getting Emmett Smith and Ricky Waters at the same time,
It is
man.
inevitable and imperative. It is estimated that 1 million people are on welfare today because it's the only way they can get health care coverage for their children. Those who choose to leave welfare for jobs without health benefits, and many entry-level jobs don't have health benefits, find themselves in the incredible position of paying taxes that help to pay for health care coverage for those who made the other choice to stay on welfare. No wonder people leave work and go back to welfare to get health care coverage. We got to solve the health care problem to have real welfare.
I'm sorry, that got very Rube Goldberg there. I got lost. What is that third monitor for now? With the red stuff on it. I don't need it. You can turn it off. It's
so
just
this year we
distracting
will
me.
make history by reforming the health care system.
All right. Health
And I
care
would say to
reform.
you, all of you, my fellow public servants, this is another issue.
You know, the
where
biggest debate in Washington is whether there is a health care crisis in America or not. Health care makes the Pentagon pricing standards look like an after-Christmas sale at the Price Club.
That may not be popular
I have
with
some,
either party, but it happens to be the truth.
Under the new health care system, here's what you have to sign to get a physical.
Now almost 1 million letters from people
This
all
is to get a
across America,
cesarean.
all walks of life. I'd like to share just one of them.
This, of course, is Donald and Marla's prenup.
Richard Anderson lost his job.
Little prop joke.
2 weeks later, his wife Judy suffered a cerebral aneurysm. He rushed her to the hospital where she stayed in intensive care.
You know, the White House was
21
considering
days.
higher taxes on beer, alcohol, and cigarettes to pay for health care reform. The public can't afford beer, cigarettes. You won't need health care, pal.
$8 an hour. The bills were too much for them, and they were literally forced into bankruptcy. Mrs. Clinton, he wrote to Hillary,
Don't know. Can't get a call on him.
no one in the United States
But
of America should have to lose
he looks
everything
guilty.
they worked for all their lives
He
because
looks
they
a
were
little nervous.
unfortunate enough to become ill.
What was his head pressed
It
up
was to
against
help
that bad
Richard
Barton
Judy
Fink
Anderson's
wallpaper for?
First Lady
He
and
was
so many
stuck
others
to that
have worked
sauce
so
in the
hard
room.
and so long on this health care reform issue. We owe them our thanks and our action.
Conservative Republicans are still trying to sell their version of a health care plan. Their calls for poor people to be used as lab rats. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, he must have just gave a kudo up to...
I know there are people here who say there's no health care crisis. Tell it to Richard and Judy Anderson. Tell it to
Richard
the
Anderson, of course, the boss
58
on
million
TV's
Americans
$6
who have
Million
no coverage
Man.
at all for some time each year. Tell it to the 81 million Americans with those pre-existing conditions. Those folks are paying more, or they can't get insurance at all, or they can't ever change their jobs because they or someone in their family has one of those pre-existing conditions. If you tell it to the small businesses burdened by skyrocketing costs of insurance, most small businesses cover their employees and they pay on average 35% more in premiums than big businesses or government. Or tell it to the 76% of insured Americans, 3 out of 4 whose policies have lifetime limits, and that means they can find themselves without any coverage at all just when they need it the most.
No.
So if any of you believe there's no crisis, you tell it to those people, because I can't.
I think our crack research team has gotten a picture of Clinton in England during the war here. And, oh, it's too bad. While we cut away, we missed a shot of Tipper. And I just found out where she got her nickname. You know, the Gores admitted they used to smoke dope. And evidently, she was the one who would put the final spin on the joint when they rolled it. And that's why they called her Tipper.
They think we don't get...
Who's going to do it, man? Give it to Tipper. Killer bees are in Texas, taking jobs away from American bees.
From the day we began, our healthcare initiative has been designed to strengthen what is good about our healthcare system. The world's best healthcare professionals, cutting-edge research,
Moynihan must have slipped somebody a fin, huh?
Medicare for older
Getting a lot of coverage tonight.
None of it should be put at risk.
Tommy Shell's father,
But we're paying more and more money for less and less care. Every year, fewer and fewer Americans even get to choose their doctors. Every year, doctors and nurses spend more time on paperwork.
Minoxidil oil field there.
Because of the absolute bureaucratic nightmare the present system has become. This system is riddled with inefficiency, with abuse, with fraud, and everybody knows it. In today's healthcare system, insurance companies call the shots. They pick whom they cover and how they cover them. They can cut off your benefits when you need your coverage the most. They are
You know, when I was in Hawaii, I got a little bit of a stomach thing, and I had to go to a doctor, and to cure me, he threw a chick into a volcano, and I was not covered for that, quite frankly.
It means every morning millions of Americans go to work without any health insurance at all, something the workers in no other advanced country in the world do.
Okay, here comes the sax solo.
Year, more and more hardworking people are told to pick a new doctor because their boss has had to pick a new plan. And countless others turn down better jobs because they know if they take the better job, they'll lose their health insurance. If we just let the healthcare system continue to drift,
is getting your penis cut off covered?
We'll have people with less care, fewer choices, and higher bills. Now,
you know, my marriage is great. The other night, my wife snuck into the bedroom and sewed a second penis onto me. And
in the private sector, to expand
she was sweet enough to make it smaller than my indigenous penis. So.
Private insurance for every American.
That's what I love about it.
I might say, employer-based private insurance for every American was
Wait a second, did he just quote Nixon?
By President Richard Nixon.
Oh! I could take a little bipartisanship, but don't pitch Nixon to me like Yoda. Come on. You know, let's not get vomitous here. Oh, man. That is the ultimate.
Why do we want guaranteed private insurance? Because right now, 9 out of 10 people who have insurance get it through their employers.
I didn't know Nixon was responsible for that. That must have been revealed in that 17 minutes of missing tape back then.
That should continue too. That ought to make the Congress and the President feel better.
A little chuckle.
Our goal is health insurance. Everybody
pretty serious. Gave us a little sorbet there so we could kick back, unwind, get loose.
Prescription drugs. Health premiums that don't just explode when you get sick or you get older. The power, no matter how small your business is, to choose dependable insurance at the same competitive rates governments and big business get today. One simple form for people who are sick. And most of all, freedom to choose a plan and the right to choose your own doctor. Our approach protects older Americans. Every plan before the Congress proposes to slow the growth of Medicare. The difference is this.
I'm lost.
We believe those savings should be used to improve
That's
health
Ken
care
Howard
for
from
senior
TV's
citizens.
White Shadow.
Medicare must be protected, and it should cover prescription drugs, and we should take the first steps in covering long-term care.
All right. Are there any questions from the crowd? Anybody want to ask anything? We seem to be in a bit of a lull here. Marcus Welby.
To those who would cut Medicare
right
without
up.
protecting seniors,
If you had to ask Dennis Miller one question, what would you ask?
Who booked this gig? I think would be really high on my... Thank you. Thank you very much.
Insurance ought to mean what it used to mean. You pay a fair price
and you
for
get
security.
screwed to the wall.
When you get sick, health care is always there.
Hey, I heard a
no
good
matter
insurance joke. This guy goes to the opening of the
Along with
National
the
Aquarium
guarantee
in
of health
Baltimore,
security,
and they're loading this sperm whale into
we all have to
a tank
admit,
on the
too,
8th floor. They have to
there
take
must
the
be more
ceiling off and lift them up with a
on the part of
big
all of us
crane. Thousands of people there to see this amazing sight. The crane breaks, the whale drops down, everybody gets out of the way except this one guy gets completely crushed by the whale. They take him to the hospital, there's not a bone together in his body. He gets on the phone to his insurance guy and he says, I just got crushed by a whale that fell from the 8th floor of a building. Am I covered? Insurance agent says, I got great news. That's the only thing you're covered for. Okay, here's another one.
The cost of care of their employees to others should contribute something. People who smoke should pay more for a pack of cigarettes.
Than people who
Everybody
don't smoke.
can contribute
Because, you know, when I don't smoke, I want to buy a lot of packs of smokes. Just so I can have them around, you know. I use them as building blocks, and I like to use the red and white ones and pretend they're candy canes. Whoa, now that has to be Republican. Those are... There, so look at that big guy there. He's pissed off. That was Larry Tate from Bewitched, and he was cranky.
To reform a healthcare system by using the market to bring down costs and to achieve lasting health security. But if you look at history...
Yeah, I wish they had New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani's kids standing next to him during this speech. Doing that translation for the serious impaired. That kid was beautiful, wasn't he? That was the greatest. I have a little boy like that. He's hyper. He's like 3.5. He's always moving, going. I leaned in him the other day and said, hey, you've got the job. Kick back, take a poop, unwind, you're here. All right, 7th inning stretch here. Everybody's getting up. You know, the Iran-Contra investigation cost $37.6 million, and we still don't know anything. Maybe we could just call Whitewater a draw, okay? Don't lose any more bread over this.
I know that facing up to these interests will require courage.
Mm-hmm.
It will raise critical questions about the way we finance our campaigns and how lobbyists yield their influence. The work of change, frankly, will never get any easier until we limit the influence of well-financed interests who profit from this current system.
Oh, come on, he just had a
So
couple
I
guys
also
from
must now
White
call
House
on you to
leave
finish
and
the
become
job
major lobby players,
both
didn't
houses
he?
began last
Anybody?
year by passing tough and meaningful campaign finance reform and lobbying reform legislation this year.
What about last year when you were running? You know, Look at it. You stepped on my heel.
You know,
Foley, nodding.
my fellow Americans, this is really a test for all of us.
Those hands are getting higher and higher, man.
The
You're gonna
American
start doing
people
kabuki here
provide
soon.
those of us in government service with terrific health care benefits at
Self-frisking.
reasonable cost. We have health care that's always there. I think we need to give every hardworking,
when I think of,
tax-paying American the
State of the
same
Union addresses in the
healthcare
past, I
security
always used to
they
watch
have
CBS
already
and
given
Whitewater
to
Cronkite.
us.
I miss Whitewater. Well, I think we're around, what time did this start?
I want to
Like
make
4
this
days
very
ago? Where are we at? I feel like Phineas Fogg here. Captain Fuss, where the hell are we?
I have no special
What time did this
any
start, Nancy?
specific approach, even
40
in our
minutes.
own bill, except this.
All right, come on, Bill. This is a wrap.
If you
We
send
get
me
the point.
legislation that does not guarantee every American private health insurance that can never be taken away,
You got to let this health
you will
insurance
force
thing
me
go,
to
pal.
take this pen,
Huh?
veto the legislation, and we'll come right back here and start all over again.
What was the pen thing? What was the symbolism of the pen? Oh, the pen is the mind control apparatus for Gore and Foley. Of course. They've had implants put in their head like Telephone, and he wields the pen and makes them go up like that little magnetic hair crazy Willie guy. All right. All right. Now I see it.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're ready to act now. I believe that you're ready to act now.
Well, the Middle East peace
And if you're
agreement
ready to
fell into
guarantee
Clinton's
every
lap this
American
year.
the same health
This has
care
about as much
that you
chance
have
as
out there
happening
that
as
can
getting a
never be taken
substitution on the
away.
Denny's Grand
Now-
Slam breakfast, okay?
Now is the time to stand with the people who sent
We've been
us here.
standing.
Now.
This is long. I feel like I'm in a S seminar or something. I gotta go to the bathroom, and Werner Erhard won't let me leave the room. Let's talk about something else, Bill. Russia or something. Russia, what a sad state, huh? They call Clinton now. He lets the machine pick it up. I mean, that place is about as stable as Crispin Glover.
To renew our strength at home.
Okay.
We cannot turn away from our obligation to renew our leadership abroad. This is a promising moment because of the agreements we have reached this year, last year.
No,
Russia's strategic nuclear missiles soon will no longer be pointed at the United States.
Huh? That is a Star Trek villain, I'm telling you. Huh? That is Sam Donaldson's Klingon grandfather.
Instead of building weapons in space,
They went past Russia already? I missed Russia?
build the International
House
Space
of
Station.
Pancakes. My syrup steward helped me with a selection.
Of course, there are still
chose a
dangers.
very dry maple, busy but never precocious.
Rampant arms proliferation, bitter regional conflicts, ethnic and nationalist tensions in many new
I don't know what the hell is going on in Bosnia,
Severe environmental
califragilistic
degradation of
expialidocious.
fanatics who
I
seek
have no
to
clue
cripple the
what's
world's
going on.
cities with
I
terror.
know it's bad.
As the world's greatest power,
Bad things, man.
we
Bad
must therefore
things.
maintain our defenses and our responsibilities. This year, we secured indictments against terrorists and sanctions against those who harbor them.
Look at Gore, man. Look
we
how
work to promote
this guy is a
environmentally
trooper.
sustainable economic growth.
Huh? You
We
just want to
achieved
give him a
agreements with
blindfold and a
Ukraine,
cigarette. Look at him back there. He has not budged.
We're working
Huh?
to achieve a Korean peninsula free of nuclear weapons. We will seek early ratification of a treaty to
Korean?
ban
Was he
chemical
talking about
weapons
Chick Korean?
worldwide. And earlier today, we joined with over 30 nations to begin negotiations on a comprehensive ban to stop all nuclear testing.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I understand we've put all our nuclear weapons on a dimmer switch. And I think it's a couple guys standing. Look at these guys. They're not going to stand for the They're not going to give it up for the nuclear thing. Oh, God, he decided to save the world. I have to stand. We like nuclear weapons. Where's Teddy Kennedy? I haven't seen him tonight.
But
I haven't shown Ted.
nothing is more important to our
He's at
security
happy hour.
than our nation's armed forces. We honor their contributions, including those
no
who
guess.
are carrying
George
out
C.
the
Scott and the New
longest
Centurions.
humanitarian
Okay.
air in history in
I
Bosnia.
took a shot. I think everybody in the Navy should be gay. Have some clean ships there, huh?
Those who will complete their mission in Somalia this year and their brave comrades who gave
I kid, gay community. Take it easy.
Our forces are the finest military our nation has ever had.
Yeah, no, we kicked a little
And I have
ass over
pledged
there
that
in the
as long
desert,
as
didn't
I
we?
am president,
Troops were
they
impressive.
will remain
Although
the best equipped,
Hussein did not exactly have it together. Last time I saw a battle plan like that, I was playing Stratego with Audrey Landers. Guy was like Wile E. Coyote in a red beret. Les, you have been quitting as long as the ending to a Grand Funk Railroad song. When are you going to split?
Last year I proposed a defense plan that maintains our
Huh? Did this cat start quitting 8 years ago?
This year, many people
That Bobby
asked me to
Inman
cut
was
our
too
defense
weird, wasn't
spending
he?
further
A little crazy
to pay
stick
for other
figure.
government programs. I said no. The budget I send to Congress
Did he just say he
draws
said
the
no?
line
Whoa.
against further defense cuts.
A precedent has been
Protects the
set.
readiness and quality of our
You know, now gays can serve in the military as long as they don't engage in homosexual sex.
We must
Hey, if it didn't work for the Catholic Church, I don't think it's going to work in the military. All right?
party will support that position.
That's fine. Go to your temples. Tell them to quit doing it. Uh-oh. This is chaos here. Huh? He has not played Sympathy for the Devil since Altamont. And I think that was a quick one. Up, down.
Ultimately, Ultimately, the best strategy to ensure our security and to build a durable peace
is to hold on to your trump
is
card.
to support the advance of democracy elsewhere. Democracies don't attack each other. They make better trading partners.
Yeah,
and partners in
democracies don't
diplomacy.
attack each other. Civil war, hello.
That is why we have supported
Hello.
democratic reformers in Russia and in the other states of the former Soviet bloc. I applaud the bipartisan support this Congress provided last year
They're zeroing in
for
on
our
somebody.
initiatives to help Russia,
And
Ukraine,
that far
and the other
back with
states
Coke
through
bottle
their
lenses like that, he cannot even see. Believe me, that was a pair of glasses with a suit attached to it.
And vigilance for our fundamental interests and values. We will continue to urge Russia and the other states to press ahead with economic reforms.
Right.
And we will seek to cooperate with Russia to solve regional problems while insisting that if Russian troops operate
Clinton
in
requested the movie Tombstone to show Russia as an example of American filmmaking. Hey, why not send over Kevorkian as an example of our ingenuity while we're at it? Uh-oh, look at that guy next to you. Eddie Felson,
But we
the pool
must
player. They
also
broke his arm.
remember, as these nations chart their own futures, and they must chart their own futures, how much more secure and more prosperous our own people will be.
Is he on Russia for a while?
Democratic and market reforms succeed all across
go to the men's room?
former communist bloc. Our policy has been to support that move.
I've been drinking this
and that has
Avion
been the
because I'm
policy of
nervous.
the
And
Congress.
my bladder is
We
as
should
big as
continue.
Russia right now.
That is why I went to Europe earlier this month, to work with our European partners to help to integrate all the former communist countries into a Europe that has the possibility of becoming unified
Yeah,
for the
bring them all
first time
together
in
like
its
Blind Faith.
entire history. Its
Clapton,
entire
Baker,
history,
yeah, a super group.
based on the simple
Richie
commitments
Grech,
of all
sure.
nations in the
It would work.
to democracy, free markets, and to respect for existing borders.
God, I'm
With our
taking off for a while.
allies, we
Write your own
create a
annotations.
partnership
One of my
for peace
cliff notes.
that invites states from the former Soviet bloc and other non-NATO members to work with NATO in military cooperation. When I met with Central Europe's leaders, including Lech Wałęsa
Look,
and
you
Václav
got
Havel,
doing that Jane Whitney thing. Jane, put some shoes on, honey.
I told them that the security of their region is important to our country's security. This year, we must also do more to support democratic renewal and human rights and sustainable development all around the world.
Yeah, right.
We will ask Congress to ratify the new GATT Accord. We will continue standing by South Africa as it works its way through its bold and hopeful and difficult transition to democracy. We will convene a summit of the Western Hemisphere's democratic leaders from Canada to the tip of South America. And we will continue to press for the restoration of true democracy in Haiti. And as we build a more constructive relationship with China, we must continue to insist on clear signs of improvement in that nation's human rights record. We will also work for new progress toward the Middle East peace. Last year, the world watched Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat at the White House when they had their
I was here the whole time. I was just
reconciliation. But there is a long, hard road.
just a little bored.
And on that road, I am determined that I and our administration will do all we can to achieve a comprehensive and
I
lasting
worry about
peace
Clinton. He's got that
for
Reagan
all the
headshake
peoples
thing going,
of the
huh?
region. Now, there are some in our
Worried
country
about that.
who argue that with the Cold War, America should turn its back on the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Many around the world were afraid we would do just that. But I took this office on a pledge that had no partisan tinge to keep our nation
Phasers on stun. Huh? Provider number one bids 3 quatloons for the strangers.
Enacting NAFTA, keeping our military strong and prepared, supporting democracy abroad. We have reaffirmed
You know when I gave up
America's
on Clinton
leadership,
when he hired
America's
Durgan? What was
engagement,
that
and
about?
as a result,
They couldn't
the
find John
American
Ehrlichman's
people are
home
more
phone number or
secure
what?
than they were before.
You know what happened there? Clinton, Stephanopoulos come in. They're going to show everybody who's the boss. They kick the press out of the one wing of the White House. press is completely apeshit because they've lived their entire life for one reason, to circle in the orbit of the most powerful man on the planet. Now they're not allowed to drink coffee in his vision. So they get really cranky. They write about Clinton like he's the worst guy in the history of the planet. Clinton calls his guys and he's there, whose ass aren't we kissing here? They go, get Gergen in. He'll kiss every ass in this town since Lincoln. They hire Gergen. He says, what are you, crazy? Let them drink their coffee in that wing of the White House. And all of a sudden Clinton's the Mahatma. It's so weird.
An ordinary train ride on Long Island ends in a hail of 9mm rounds. A tourist in Florida is nearly burned alive by bigots simply because he is
black.
no,
this is crunch time.
Right
our
here in our
country is
nation's
getting
capital.
out of hand.
A brave young man named Jason White, a policeman, the son and grandson of policemen, is ruthlessly gunned down. Violent crime and the fear it provokes are crippling our society.
You're right, man.
Limiting personal freedom and fraying the ties that bind us. The crime bill before Congress gives you a chance to do something about it. A chance to be tough and smart. What does that mean? Let me begin by saying I care a lot about this issue. Many years ago, when I started out in public life, I was the Attorney General of my state. I served as a governor for a dozen years.
The gun lobby's too strong in this country.
Sign laws increasing penalties to build more prison cells.
You'll get my gun when you pry it from my cold, dead hand. Yeah, whatever.
This issue. It does not be simple.
Yeah.
First, we must recognize that most violent crimes are committed by a small percentage of criminals who too often break the laws even when they're on parole.
Riddler, Penguin.
Now, those who commit crimes should be punished. And those who commit repeated violent crimes should be told, when you commit a third violent crime, you will be put away and put away for good. 3 strikes and you are out.
No, 3 strikes and you're in for good. This would be beautiful if they do it. Our court system is just out of hand. The entire American legal system is based on the premise of trial by jury. The only way you can get on a jury is if you prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you know nothing about the case or about the trial. Consequently, you have people's lives being determined by 12 people in a room whose main goal in life is to wrap it up and get home in time to watch Alice reruns on the Superstation because they think flow is a real hoot.
Steps to reduce violence and prevent crime, beginning with more police officers and more community policing.
You got to roll it, Ed. I'll just say it out loud.
We know right now that police who work the streets, know the folks, have the respect of the neighborhood kids, focus on high crime areas. We know.
I guess when the president talks about reducing crime, he's exempting the people in front of him.
Look at the experience of Houston, where the crime
I think under indictment in Washington is now considered a career move.
That approach was taken. Here tonight is one of those community policemen, a brave young detective, Kevin Jett, whose beat is 8 square blocks in one of the toughest neighborhoods in New York. Every day he restores some sanity and safety.
Jocelyn Elders announced her plan for stopping crime. Legalize all of it.
I'd like to ask him to stand up and be recognized tonight. Thank you, sir.
All right, now see, this is what's wrong with our country. Our country celebrates all these people who talk about doing things. This is one guy who does something, so this is good. Because everybody in that chamber, all they do is sit up there and talk all day about what should be done. What's the guy next to him? Is he standing? Get up. There's a cat who's out doing something. We celebrate the
You will be given a chance to give the children of this country, the law-abiding working people of this country, and don't forget, in the toughest neighborhoods in this country, in the highest crime neighborhoods in this country, the vast majority of people get up every day and obey the law, pay their taxes, do their best to raise their kids.
We need a death
deserve
sentence, don't we?
like
Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
And you're
What do you
going to be
think?
given the chance to
need a death
give the
sentence or
American
no?
people another 100,000
I think so. Don't you need something at the end of the sentence?
I urge you to do it.
You know, that guy who killed that little girl in Petaluma? We're going to keep him alive for years. And I mean, he should have been dead before he was able to pronounce the T sound at the end of I did it. Did we see Danny Rostenkowski there? Danny's under investigation for trading 3 stamps for cash at the House Post Office and selling his congressional parking spot to tourists for $5 a pop.
Retiring military personnel to move into police forces, an
Still think
inordinate
he's got
resource.
the T-shirt convention out in the lobby.
One which has a safe
Concession. What did I
schools
say,
provision,
convention?
which will give our young people the chance to walk to
Just a
school
long
in safety
speech. Are they usually
and to
this
be
long?
in school in safety instead of dodging bullets.
God,
These are
he's still got to
important
talk about the new Darren. That's all. So many things Littlefield hasn't covered here.
To build on the Brady Bill, the Brady Law, to take further steps
That, did you see Bridges play him in that movie? Stunning. Bo Bridges, killer. I'm a happy guy. I'm a happy guy. My hair is going back, 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 back.
Guns and protect their homes. I respect that part of our culture.
He's a happy little guy.
But I want to ask the sportsmen and others who lawfully own guns to join us in this campaign to reduce
Get rid
gun
of them.
violence.
Bowl. Something.
I say to you, I know you didn't create this problem, but we need your help to solve it.
Right.
There is no sporting purpose on earth that should stop the United States Congress from banishing assault weapons that outgun
Bingo.
police and cut down children.
It's a no-brainer. Gotta get rid of guns. Come on. Yeah, they got that new program, Toys for Guns. It was very popular in New York City over Christmas. So popular, I think Bill's coming up with that new Votes for Guns program to, yeah, we're crazy with the guns.
Fourth,
What happened?
we must remember that drugs are a factor
Anybody
in an
see three?
enormous percentage of crimes. Recent studies indicate,
Fourth,
sadly, that drug use
Nikki
is on
Hilton.
the rise again
Fifth,
among
Michael
our young
Wilding.
people.
Sixth, Senator
The
John
crime
Warner.
bill contains,
Whoa.
all the crime bills contain, more money for drug treatment
Noriega with a little retin-A.
and boot camps for
What is that
youthful
serpent
offenders
in his mouth?
that stay on. Our administration's budget
Victoria's
all its
old-
cuts
Victoria
contains
Jackson's
a large
ex-husband.
increase in funding for drug
fire
treatment and
eater.
drug education. You must pass them both.
Yeah.
We need them desperately.
Frank Gorshin. To the right.
My fellow Americans, the problem of violence is an American problem. It has no partisan or philosophical element. Therefore, I urge you to find ways as quickly as possible to set aside partisan differences and pass a strong, smart, tough crime bill.
All right. Good point, Billy.
But further, I urge you to consider this. As you demand tougher penalties for those who choose violence, let us also remember how we came to this sad point. In our toughest neighborhoods, on our meanest
Empty
streets, in our poorest rural areas, we have seen a stunning and simultaneous breakdown
That was our Supreme
of
Court.
community, and family, and work.
Just wanted you to know we had the
Heart
A-team
and
down there.
soul of civilized
Oh,
society.
man.
This has created a
McCarthy
vast
was the
vacuum
tail gunner. Rehnquist is the
been
bombardier.
filled by violence and drugs and gangs.
I just think I happened to see in the crowd there the new Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Beltway insiders say Clinton chose her because she was deemed to be hit-proof by Clarence Thomas. All right. Jesse Jackson did a square the other day coming out against that... I like this guy. I don't know who he is. I always see him speaking. He's very eloquent.
Many of our initiatives, from job training to welfare reform to health care to national service, will help to rebuild distressed communities, to strengthen families, to provide work. But more needs to be done.
He's wrapping it up here, I think. I smell.
That's what our
What do you think
community
he's going to
empowerment
encore
agenda
with?
is all about. challenging
Machine
businesses
head,
to
smoke on
provide
the
more
water, maybe?
investment through empowerment zones, ensuring banks will make loans in the same communities their deposits come from, passing legislation to unleash the power of capital through community development banks to create jobs. Opportunity
I gotta
and
get Foley
hope
back to this
where they're
cryogenic
needed
freezer
most.
chamber.
I think you know that to really solve this problem,
Keep them nice and
we'll
lifelike
all have
for
to
next
put our
year's speech.
heads together, leave our ideological armor aside, and find some new ideas to do even more. And let's be honest.
Okay.
We all know something else, too. Our problems go way beyond the reach of government. They're rooted in the loss of values, in the disappearance of work, and the breakdown of our families and our communities. My fellow Americans, we can cut the deficit, create jobs, promote democracy around the world, pass welfare reform and health care, pass the toughest crime bill in history, and still leave too many of our people behind.
Right.
The American people have got to want to change from within if we're going to bring back work and family and community. We cannot renew our country when within a decade, more than half of the children will be born into families where there has been no marriage. We cannot renew this country when 13-year-old boys get semi-automatic weapons to shoot 9-year-olds for kicks. We can't renew our country when children are having children and the fathers walk away as if the kids don't amount to anything. We can't renew the country when our businesses eagerly look for new investments and new customers abroad, but ignore those people right here at home who'd give anything to have their jobs and would gladly buy their products if they had the money to do it.
Hear, hear. Walter Matthau.
We can't renew our country unless more of us,
Take
I
back
mean
our
all
library
of
books.
us, are willing to join the churches and the other good citizens. People like all the black ministers I've worked with over the years, or the priests and the nuns I met at Our Lady of Help in East Los Angeles.
That's what, you know. I took my kid out shopping today. We got him a Jurassic Park action figure. Got him the thesaurus. It's a tiny creature who often used flowery language to extricate himself from potentially life-threatening situations. Got him that and a pair of Shroud of Turin underoos. No stigmata footsies, didn't have the coin. A lot of red. Why do all the women wear red? What is that about? Some sort of Squeaky Fromm convention. There's red and orange on Pat Schroeder. Pat, quit squinting. Check out the color chart. Jesus, what was that?
Children's teachers
Red and orange.
turn off the television.
With Tampa Bay Bucks uniforms.
Teach their kids right from wrong. Those kind of parents can make all the difference. I know. I had one. And I'm telling you, we have got to stop pointing our fingers at these kids who have no future and reach our hands out to them. Our country needs it, we need it, and they deserve it.
You know, when I take so many runs at Clinton in my act, when I see him speak like this, you really, I don't know, there's something about his desperate grasp for the grail, but when you hear him speak, he's certainly a good man. I mean, you really believe that he cares about the disenfranchised. I don't want to sound maudlin, but it's just, I don't want to, can't take too many shots on him. I mean, he makes sense.
Let's give our children a future. Let us take away their guns and give them books. Let us overcome their despair and replace it with hope. Let us, by our example, teach them to obey the law, respect our neighbors, and cherish our values. Let us weave these sturdy threads into a new American community, that can once more stand strong against the forces of despair and evil, because everybody has a chance to walk into a better tomorrow. Oh, there will be naysayers who fear that we won't
Big closer
be equal to
coming
the
up.
challenges
This
of
is where he
time.
smashes the watermelon with the hammer.
They misread our history, our heritage, even today's headlines. All those things tell us we can and we will overcome any challenge. When the earth shook and fires raged in California, when I saw the
See no
Mississippi
evil, hear no
deluged
evil, speak no
into
evil.
the Midwest in a 500-year flood, when the century's bitterest cold swept from North Dakota to Newport News, it seemed as though the world itself was coming apart at the seams.
Yeah.
But the American people, they just came together. They rose to the occasion, neighbor helping neighbor, strangers risking life and limb to save total strangers, showing the better angels of our nature. Let us not reserve the better angels only for natural disasters, leaving our deepest and most profound problems to petty political fighting.
All righty. I think we're in the denouement.
Let us
A lot of lettuce.
Let us instead be true to our spirit.
More lettuce than the salad
Facing
bar at
facts,
Shoney's.
coming together, bringing hope, and moving forward. Tonight, my fellow Americans, we are summoned to answer a question as old as the Republic itself.
Well, it's
What
certainly an
is the
accommodating
state
speech, offering a
of our
hand. I mean,
union?
Bush's last speech, I think I heard him say, ask
It
not
is
what your
growing
country can
stronger.
do for you, period.
But it must be stronger still.
So,
With your help
certainly,
and God's
the
help,
hand has
it
been
will be.
extended.
Thank you.
All right, Bouncing Billy, good shot. Nice shot. I think Mitzi's going to start giving them weekend stuff. My Comedy Store joke. Well, that's it. The President's first State of the Union address for Comedy Central's State of the Union. I'm dressed, undressed, and I'm dressed too. I'm also Dennis Miller. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dennis Miller. And Dennis, I must say, that was an insightful, biting, and characteristically honest coverage of the President's message. And if I may add, on behalf of all of us here at Comedy Central, we join our audience in a deep appreciation of that renowned Miller trademark of mixing the cerebral with an almost Chaplinesque proclivity for madcap physical comedy. Coming up next, we join Bill Maher with his esteemed panel of comics, celebrities, and congressmen as they continue to undress Bill Clinton's first State of the Union message to the country on a special live one-hour edition of Politically Incorrect. I'm Jim Lampley. There. I'm a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's son. And I'm plucking pleasant pheasants till the pheasant plucking's done. I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's mate. And I'm only plucking pheasants because the pheasant plucker's late.
Okay. I love it.